Welcome to this masterclass on Lars Hertervig's Old Pine Trees. So Lars Hertervig is a Norwegian painter who died in 1902, I believe, born in 1830, and he is one of the most amazing landscape painters of all time and cultures. I've talked about him earlier, how he very much resembles Li Cheng of China, of 10th century China. This is Old Pine Trees, and this was painted in the 1860s, I believe. And this is what we're going to look at today. We'll follow the same procedure as with the Martyrdom of Matthew by Caravaggio, and specifically so to show you and really emphasize that the rules for a good composition is the same regardless of motif, regardless of country of birth, and regardless of time. Point is that if you want to create a cohesive painting that binds the different parts of the painting together, and that's when you start getting some kind of a narrative. Now, there's not a specific action going on here, seemingly, but we'll get more to that part of it in the second part of this lecture. I'll do it at least in two parts. First part, same thing as with Martyrdom of Matthew. We'll strictly look at the cross composition, how everything falls very much according to the diagonals. And we'll get a bit nerdy in this lecture as well, to really emphasize that you need a solid structure before you start playing around with rhythms and seemingly capricious lines running all over the place. So let's start with this diagonal here. Now, obviously, it's following the rocks or whatever there on the bottom left corner, and you see that's, for example, this root here, just under the line, plays up to that diagonal. There's a little angle here in the middle of the circle, and you see that a lot with Hertervig. That he to a lot of in a lot of cases he places sort of angles across these lines. So you see also that the landscape behind there, the little part there behind there, stops or sort of dissolves at that line. And of course you have this little tree here, this one, this branch here, and this angle here. And I do believe these things are not coincidental. Of course, we'll get very much into details with a lot of circles and arrows here. But Hertervig may not have thought about every single detail. You get into the trap of sort of knowing more than the person who made it. But I do believe that this is done at least so-called unconsciously, which means that you have the experience to place things and create unity, even though you haven't verbalized exactly to the minutious detail what you're about to do or what you have done. So the line then is also emphasized by this part here, or you could argue the whole rest of that part of the forest to the left here, which rests on that diagonal. You see it dissolves, or rather fog comes in and dissolves that part of the landscape, so it neatly aligns with that diagonal. Of course, the hill there on the other side is also working according to that line, and I do believe you can find quite a lot of small indicators, and I emphasize that small indicators, because as I've mentioned before, when you do these things, it can't be you know, demonstratively composed. It has to be hidden, so it creates that connection across space, across that canvas, without that being obvious. Now you have the cloud here also sort of pulling it up, or helping with that. So I'll get more into rhythms and pulling and pushing in the second part of the lecture. Thank you for checking out this video from the Cave of Apelles. If you want to watch the entire segment, head over to caveofapelles.com/donate and become a $5 patron. Then you can access our masterclasses, bonus material with our guests, painting videos, and more.